Hi everybody, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to Harv's Island, as we will be doing some interior decorating. To be more specific, we're going to be decorating an indoor greenhouse that is also supposed to be very comfy and cozy. You'll see what I mean by that in a second. But yeah, I started out with the wallpaper and flooring because I feel like those are the items that change a room the most. Like, they can set a completely different vibe. And so I wanted to find something that would work for me. And so I tried out a few different wallpapers that I think work quite well with like the greenhouse idea, but I then essentially stuck with these this arched window wallpaper, which I really love. And I feel like it just screams greenhouse at you. And then I kind of just browsed my entire catalog because I had never actually been to Harv's Island before to decorate. Seeing all of that was actually like so amazing. So I really recommend that you come here and do this. And then I basically just started putting some stuff down that I really wanted to have in this room that really kind of inspired me. I also put down some stuff on the walls. However, I later on realized that that was actually not the smartest thing to do because I had to move quite a bit of those things or actually put them away again. But, you know, this really helps me. You might have seen this in a previous video where I put down certain items in one area so I can just look at it and like get my inspiration, kind of know where I'm going with a specific place. And that's essentially what I did here. Is I just looked through the entire catalog, and especially the housewares section with like the bigger items that actually need some room. And I just picked some that I thought would work really well. So I picked a lot of plants, obviously, because this is supposed to be a greenhouse. And then I also went in and picked a few other things, customized a lot of them with different patterns that I just have and that I love. I also left it in this time. I didn't edit this out because I thought it would be very interesting to see kind of what color combinations I use and like which ones there are in general. And yeah, you will see a lot of items I repeatedly use all the time. Like, for example, this pile of Zen cushions. I have the rocking chair in my house already. This couch is actually in my living room also. I love this table with a tablecloth. And this was actually one of the things I really wanted to have in this room, was like a big table right in the center with just a few like potted plants on top. And yeah, some other stuff that I thought would work really well color-wise or just as a general item. Like, for example, the Lily record player, I think is just, it kind of makes sense in a greenhouse, you know, like in a room full of plants. It makes sense to have the music come out of this Lily record player instead of any other. I then realized that I had cluttered up the space a tiny little bit, and so I had to move a lot of the things out the way in order to like start decorating. But you know, like I said, I kind of like this because it does give me an overview of all the items. I decided to place this table not entirely in the center, but slightly off center, because it would give me a little bit more room to play around on the right side of the room. And then I also had this stall, which I thought was a very interesting idea to use like indoor. And it just gives me, you know, an entire like added surface to display more potted plants. And so I thought that this was actually quite lovely. And I just placed a monstera like right next to it, because I wanted to create this kind of plant display in the left corner. And so one of my favorite items, the bonsai table, goes right there as well. And at this point, I just really want to say thank you again, Lucy, for being so kind and gifting this item to me so that I could work with it in this room. It, in my opinion, really adds a lot, and I think it's essential in like an indoor greenhouse. Yeah, and then I had the idea of kind of creating like a reading area or just a area to like sit and chill out. And so I decided to use the imperial partition to kind of create like different sections in the room. And then I thought that maybe we could even put some bookshelves down, which you will see me do right now, and really create like a reading nook of some sorts. And at first I thought I was just gonna do one shelf and then the sofa right in front of it. But as you can see now, I feel like it kind of looks a little bit ridiculous and I couldn't make it look right. You will see this a lot in this video, is that I shift items around quite a bit. And I often try like a lot of different combinations until I find what looks right to me. And so for example, for this one, I also tried to place it in this like corner and just create this like little reading corner. But to me, it just didn't look quite right. And then I ended up having the idea of just placing them next to each other. And so I did like a bookshelf wall, or a section of a wall, if you will. And I placed the partition like in front of that and made this like very secluded, very, very comfy looking area with the green sofa, which is also probably one of my favorite items, although I feel like I say that with every single item, so maybe I should stop saying that, but you know, I feel like it looks really cozy. Also, the brown version is quite pretty. Again, I'm trying to just kind of put a lot of plants all around, you know, because I do want to keep that idea of like the greenhouse a little bit, and I thought to use some cushions or like, you know, pillows or whatever to always just make it that extra bit of comfortable. And then as there was quite a lot of space on that wall, I decided to incorporate this iron shelf, which I think also adds a little bit of a plant or like greenhouse vibe, you know, because it has that tiny little plant right at the top, and I knew that I could place another one next to it, so I think it works quite well. This video is actually a little bit of a different video compared to my other videos, because I pre-recorded this obviously and I sped it up, and then I am now doing a voiceover, because sometimes when playing and talking at the same time, it's kind of hard to do either of those things well. So I thought that I would try this. You know, it still gives you kind of my commentary, it kind of explains like certain things I thought about doing, but it also gets through everything a lot quicker. And then right here, I had the idea for a yoga mat, because the little bamboo basket reminds me so much of a basket filled with like rolled up yoga mats. And I thought that this would actually be a very, very nice idea, because, you know, in this like comfy, cozy greenhouse, it gives you all the peace in the world to kind of do that. And so I just placed those sunflower designs down as like a tile mat, and then I placed the bamboo basket like very close to it so that the vibe or the idea would just be transported. And I actually quite love it. I don't know if it's an idea that works for other people, like if other people understand this idea, but for me, I thought it was quite nice and you know, quite fitting, as I do like to do yoga from time to time. I also included this tree that was like, I think a special item in August. My idea behind it was basically that I thought the little notes could be like affirmations or just some positive notes that somebody who does yoga like wrote down and hung up there, just to create like a beautiful and very safe environment, which I think is like a nice thought. I don't know. Yeah, but I mean, you basically see that I switch a lot of the items around. I oftentimes look at it from a lot of different angles, which I think is one of the most complicated things about interior decorating, is that you don't have that one angle. Like, of course, you come into the room and like the first impression is what counts mostly, but the thing is you can turn your camera all the way around, and so it kind of has to look good from all angles and sides. But again, I kind of kept that in just so you guys would see what kind of process this really is. Onto the left side of this room, it felt kind of bare to me. At first I thought I was just gonna display a whole bunch of like bigger plants, but it seemed kind of without thought and without much attention, and so I decided to maybe put a shelf or like a desk or like another chair on that side. And here you see me trying out a whole bunch of different items, although a lot of them I ended up, you know, putting away again, because either the brown wasn't fitting, it was like not fitting with the entire color scheme, or it felt like too bulky and I don't know, just not right. And so I went back in and I checked like all the different items, and you see me like lingering on certain items for a little longer, and that's kind of where I was deep in thoughts and tried to find the thing that I really liked. And so here I was opting for an armchair. You know, I already had that like seating and reading area in the back right, but I felt like I needed another space to kind of relax in, and it ended up being this log armchair, which again I just customized a little bit, and I felt like that looked a lot better than the rattan armchairs. So I put that down and then tried to work around that again. You know, put down a plant and like a little stool on the side that I would later maybe be able to place like a teacup or something like that on. And then along this wall, I thought that I could create a little bit more space to display some plants. And so I tried to find some items that would give me that added surface. And again, I played around with like a few different things until I then at some point like found the thing that I thought was working quite nicely. I also thought about adding the antique table, although with the table cloth table, there was already so much going on that I felt like I couldn't. And so, you know, I just had a bunch of options, and then I customized them all in like versions that I kind of liked, and just tried to like fill up the space I had around the wall. And yeah, as soon as I find options that I really like, I kind of remove just everything else and try to like work with it. What you see me doing here is kind of typical in the way that I decorate certain areas. I do this with the island designing as well. It's just that I always pick out like the big items first, and I always try to like outline a certain area or a certain room, and I try to really give myself that idea of how it's going to look at the end, because you can already get like a pretty good impression of how this room's going to turn out with these like bigger items. I also try to make this garden wagon work because I just think it's a beautiful item, but it felt like more of an outdoor item to me. And I tried this, but I didn't like it. I honestly didn't like it, even though I think it's one of the most prettiest things, and it adds so much to any outside area. I just didn't like it indoors. And yeah, I'm just kind of trying to figure out if there is any other item that I would like to place down, that I would like to have in this room. I think I'm looking for, yeah, the Finalizing cushions, because I wanted to have that next to the armchair. So I'm just customizing that in a pattern that I like. You know, again, sometimes it takes several tries until you find what you really like. And so, you know, don't despair if some things don't really look right the first time around, because that usually is not the case for me either. So just kind of keep going, just kind of keep customizing, try finding designs, maybe just the Able Sisters designs or like custom design codes that you vibe with, that you like on your island. Like I use the same ones over and over again because I just really enjoy them and I quite like them. But yeah, and then here I'm just trying to like fill some spaces, you know, I'm trying to make this room look like lived in and not like half finished, but actually kind of full. And then here you see me, I think I do this more than once, is like I get out of the decorating mode and I try to walk and try to get places and see if everything is like accessible. Yeah, and then again, like I'm changing around the armchair and that little side table, and I look at it from different angles and I like try to figure out if it's something I like, if it's something I can work with. And I love the Imperial partition, but it annoys me so much that it takes up so much room, even though it's such a like a narrow item. I then decided to switch to rugs and prepare to see me struggle with this, because I feel like there are some rugs that I don't have yet that might look good, because there are only like 2 to 3 rugs that I kind of like, which are these two like round shaped ones. I do have the moon rug as well, which I quite enjoy, but I'll try it out later, but you'll see that it's in my opinion just like too much. And then I have like so many different patterns going on that I really wanted the rugs to be a little bit more simple, you know? And yeah, I just put a lot of them down. I tried a lot of different ones. I wish I had this avocado mat in like a medium size, because I kind of like the color. It really fits like the sofa and everything, but it's a weird size. And so I put it down, I took it away again. I'm trying out different versions. Again, like here you see the moon rug, which just like 3 round ones that were like very light in color just didn't look good in my opinion. And so, you know, I removed it again and I went back to the avocado one. Oh, I actually tried out the pirate one too. That's right. And you know, I kind of like the color, but you see here that I think the size is just kind of odd. And so I went back to the blue one, and that's quite like a nice size, but it's not the right color. And so I went back to the avocado one, and I decided to stick with this one for now. But I think I might actually exchange this later if I get a larger version or just a different rug that I like. And here you see me move on to the miscellaneous items. Meanwhile, when I was decorating everything and putting down some items in some areas, I already pictured what would go on those little side tables. And so I really wanted there to be like tea or coffee or something like that by the log armchair. And so, I just put different versions of it down again. Like I tried 2 different versions, but very quickly decided for this mom item. I then went back in and chose just a few items that had caught my eye and put them down, anywhere really, so that I wouldn't forget. And just placing them somewhere that I think they would work, like this lamp here, for example, which you will see me switch around later on quite a bit as well, but and then I went through all the miscellaneous items, and for example, I knew that for the yoga area, I kind of wanted to have something like a fragrance diffuser or the fragrance sticks or something like that, because I felt like that really fit that theme. And then I also went back in and just put a bunch of the little plants or plant items down, because of course we're still trying to stick with the entire greenhouse theme here. And then, they ended up being placed very randomly. And so I went in and I chose different items and I put them places where I thought they could work. And again, I went back in, used more items, put down more items, found more stuff that I wanted to incorporate. And really, I just wanted to fill up the surfaces. And I thought about like what different items would work. Definitely let me know if you enjoy this kind of video, because I did have quite a lot of fun making or like recording the video and decorating the room, but also doing the voiceover and just kind of looking at it all like again. And it gives me a bit more freedom too, because I don't need to go, or I feel like I don't need to go into a video like fully prepared and have all the items set up and like feel rushed, because I feel like if I talk too long, like nobody's going to be interested in that. But here I just kind of decorated. I was able to like think all the time, which like I said, sometimes it's like hard to do both things at once. And like here more than with other videos until now, you see more like the entire process, like customizing different items and switching them out, like trying, like for example, this table lamp, as you will see in a second. I will be trying this and I will be deciding I don't want it and I remove it. And I do that quite a lot. And sometimes when that happens in a video and I'm quiet, meanwhile, I'll cut it out just because I feel like the video would otherwise be too long, which is kind of sad, because I do want to show you this process and I do want to be very transparent about like how long it takes, because I feel like you can forget that quite a lot. So yeah, and then you will see this little struggle going on with the table and the side table and then that little like desk along the wall, because I really wanted to place different things there, but I really didn't know in which order, because different plants or like the pillow or whatever, they have different heights, and so they look very different from like different angles, I also included more books because I wanted to continue that little theme on the left side of the room as well. And I did a stack of books right next to that table, which I kind of just used to like fill the space, but I think it works quite nicely. And then, books on that little table right there. I tried the magazine rack on the other side of the room because I love that item. Again, I just love that item. But as with, some placement, some items just don't work out. So after placing the book on that side table and really liking it, I realized here that I can't walk to the sofa anymore. And so I kind of had to say goodbye to the little magazine stand, and I tried switching around some stuff around the yoga mat as well, but But I don't know, the pillow like there gives it too much room, or it just feels like a little bit empty right there, and so I switched it back, you know. Don't ever be afraid to switch something back or to take something down if you don't like it. And this goes for interior decorating just as much as for the island process, you know. Like if you landscape a certain area and you don't like it, don't be afraid to tear it down. You know, that's really something you should never be afraid of doing. Yeah, and here I think I'm just trying to figure out like the last few items to fill up the rest of the space on the little table in the center, and I opted for this globe, this like vintage globe right here, which is my favorite version of the globe. I don't know, I feel like the muted colors make it look very sophisticated in some way. And also, again, I'm trying to not only use plants, quite a lot of plants, but not only plants, to just make this a little bit more like realistic maybe as well. And then we switched to the walls, and as I said, I had placed a bunch of stuff. I had to take a bunch of it down again just to have that room to do something. And I mean, I know that you kind of have the lamps from the game itself, like you were able to light up a room without actually placing any lamps, but I wanted to have additional ones, and so I used these wall mounted ones because they're kind of my favorite. I think they add like a very modern, also slightly rustic look to the room. I use these in my kitchen as well, and I think they're, you know, like I said, they're very modern and very like basic, so they work with a lot of different places and areas. I then went in with a few more decorative pieces, the like little acorn. I don't actually know what that item is called, but I think it's quite cute the way it like turns, adds a little bit of a zen moment in my opinion. Also the little bamboo decoration and this floral swag, which is really cute. Yeah, so I'm just trying to again choose items that I would think make sense in like a greenhouse. Also the wreath, and this little bamboo decoration, you know, by the yoga area, just because I feel like the bamboo is quite like relaxing. And the little clock by the door. And yeah, I'm just trying to kind of fill up the space in a not like too cluttered way, but still like kind of cluttered, and just kind of in a nice way, you know. Add a few pops of colors, just really those few like finishing touches. And that is pretty much my comfy and cozy indoor greenhouse. I really like how it turned out actually, and this was a lot of fun. I very much hope that you enjoyed it. I will give you a few cinematic shots in a second, but until then, I hope you liked it, and I hope you have a great day. And do not forget to like and subscribe. Bye!